Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you wanna know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thursday.
Good morning, Miami Dolphins fans, on this Monday morning. Always good to talk about the Miami Dolphins in and on a Monday morning. Welcome to the room. Happy to be here. Mike McDaniel spoke with the media this morning, as all the AFC coaches talked to the media this morning. So he gave out some tidbits. The draft is quickly approaching. So there are some things to talk about in the Miami Dolphins realm of the universe. So thank you guys for coming in here to listen to some Miami Dolphins topics. So Mike McDaniel said the Dolphins have made an offer to OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. So, and that he would like to coach OBJ, but that is it. So I think it's more of either OBJ's price has to come down or the Dolphins are going to have to raise theirs, but I don't think the Dolphins are raising their price. OBJ probably float around, see if he can get better offer. But both sides seems to have a mutual interest. But as of this time, I think the Dolphins are pretty set on the salary cap. As Mike McDaniel discussed the salary cap, basically saying, there's definitely a number to the salary cap. And you basically got to make sure you have enough money to pay the water bills. So that's basically how he worded it, not verbatim, not quote for quote, but basically said you got to make sure you got money to pay the water bill. So you can't just always go out and get all the shiny things and just, you have to throw caution to the wind, basically, at times. Just see who's in here. Michael K in the house. Jeff, I'll back it up in the bin. Ben podcast, a tongue twister this morning, is in the house. Thank you guys for rolling in here. Haven't seen you for a while, Michael K. So good to see you back over here in Dolphin Thirsty Land. Michael K is a Bills fan, but he's always welcome in here. So it's all good. Speaking of Mike McDaniel also basically went on to talk about his play calling. He has given thought about not giving up play calling, but he has not given up play calling, and he will be calling plays in the spring and most likely into the season. So for the guys hoping that Mike McDaniel gives up his play calling, from what he said today, he gave thought to it, but no. To me, I'm okay with him calling the plays. I know he has a lot of other duties, but other coaches call the plays and they do okay. So it's not a big issue to me. So, but that topic was brought up. He covered it. He actually said he gave thought to it, whatever that means. Like, oh, let me think about it. Okay, never mind. I want us to do it. Or did he really deeply think about it? But at the end of the day, it seems like he's still going to be our play calling moving forward. So that's good. And they are meeting in the coaches meetings in Orlando, Florida this year. Mike McDaniel's looking like his normal self. Damon pointed that out on the NFL Football Network. He's basically 2Q rolled up pants, sneakers, and it is what it is. So there you go. Oh, Steve Malloy's rocking into the house. Good morning to you, Steve. Big fins up to you. Scotty is in the house. Scotty says, I never expected McDaniel to give up play calling. Never even consider it to be a legit thought. Yeah, same here, man. That's it. I mean, basically, we brought him in for his offensive mind, so it would kind of make sense for that. All you guys are saying hi to each other. I love it here when you guys chat among yourselves. And as far as the OBJ, we all kind of knew OBJ had met with the Dolphins, so that was no big surprise. But they did say they had made an official offer to OBJ, but he has yet to accept it. So that's going to be interesting to see. Do the Dolphins become more flexible and open up the pockets a little more, or do they just stay firm? I'm in the belief they're going to stay firm at least through the draft because they got options to, move forward without a high price veteran coming in. And it'd be interesting if OBJ ends up getting more money somewhere else. So that'd be fun. Like I say, to me, our season's not hinging on the fact if OBJ comes to the Dolphins or not. So it's not really a big deal one way or the other. If you get him, fine. You get a veteran, good experienced player that can still make plays in this league. Perfect. You get him at the number you want. And if he doesn't, means you're confident moving forward that you can find someone to come in and fulfill that role. So to me, either way, I'd be happy. Doesn't matter. As long as they get a good, really good third option in the receiving department, yeah, I'm okay with that. If you saw my YouTube thumbnail, you're wondering who are those guys in the photo? It's Graham Barton, offensive lineman Duke, and Chop Robinson, edge rusher, Penn State. Just two names that I happen when I've been scouring NFL mock drafts from the pundits that supposedly have which no one really does. I've seen those names linked to the Dolphins a couple of times that maybe necessary not in all of our plans. I do believe Scotty's covered Chop Robinson before, but a lot of people don't have those guys circled way up on the well. But if you the more I read and look at things of Graham Barton, he makes sense to me. He's explosive. He's really good if you watch him, guys. I know he went to Duke. He was only a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. But basically, when he got to Duke, he was forced into action early in his freshman year. And he played well. He ended up getting over 40 starts in his Duke career. Solid player. He would come in and contribute. He has line versatility. Some people think he would actually be a really good center. He played center in his freshman year. So he's played some tackle and he can play guard. So he's one of those guys that could be versatile and come in and help the Dolphins. So those are the reason and Chop Robinson basically I added because we know we're kind of questionable at the edge spot. Look, 2 is on my thumbnail for tomorrow night. Oh, guys, by the way, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. on this very channel, the mock draft guy will be on Courtney's show. Normally, Courtney does Mondays, but with schedules, Tuesday is how we could hook up with the mock draft guy this Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Courtney and the NFL mock draft guy will be talking all things related to the Miami Dolphins and the NFL draft. So thank you for coming in. Hey, Timothy Washington, big fins up to you, man. Big fins up to you. And Jamaican from Zion, big fins up to you as well. And anyone else in here that hasn't commented, thank you for being in here this morning. Like I didn't have as normal notes as I normally have on the Dolphins because it's spring break this week for my high school son. So it's a little more time consuming just hanging out, trying to keep him busy, trying to do all of that good stuff. But it's always good to talk about our Miami Dolphins. So that's why I've been looking into the NFL draft a little bit more. And basically, to me, the Dolphins needs, to me, I still have offensive line as the number one need. And then I say defensive line / edge, either one, like a defensive tackle or an edge rusher. If you want to just count the edge rushers instead of as an outside linebacker, you count them as an edge rusher along the line, whatever. To me, we need those. And yes, I still have receiver, one extra target to me help. So we're not so dependent on Waddle and Hill. Maybe John New Smith helps that. Even though he's from the tight end spot, he might be an additional weapon that we can get in the ball and make plays. So there are still needs. To me, I know a lot of Dolphin fans say running back. I think we're basically set to. Now, don't get me wrong. We could bring in an undrafted type free agent, a low price veteran that comes, high, low risk, high reward type guy coming in, like a Dobbins or whoever type style running back, that comes in on the cheap and you try to get the most. But I think they're basically happy with their running back room. Their running back room produced last year for the most part. Yes, some of you would say Mike McDaniel got away from the run or what have you. But for the most part, our running back room produced when given the chance. And so me, running backs down lower on the list of needs than we always do. Hey, Newfoundland, big fins up to you. Thank you for rolling in again. Let's see if I want I get a load going to the destination and rent a car. Might as well get paid while I'm there. Uh, all I know, Michael K, is you are being Michael K. That's it. What can I say? Um, so as far as Chop Robinson, I know to me, I he's not as good as Latu. He's not as good against the run, and but I think Latu will be gone by time the Dolphins pick at 21. I just really do. I think I know a lot of mock drafts have him falling to us and after us because most people don't have us taking him. But when you watch him, he's big, he's fast, he's just really he's really a star in the making, I think. I know we got Jalen Phillips, who's a long edge rusher, kind of thing. They actually both played for UCLA for a while before, of course, Phillips. No, I'm not saying at the same time, but I mean they both had that background where they played at UCLA, but then of course, Phillips ended up at University of Miami after some injuries, revitalized his football career, ended up getting drafted in the first round by our Miami Dolphins. So, we do have a young guy there, Chubb. It's not so much young anymore, and he's coming off. So, I think we could use an extra edge. That's why I have I have that position pretty high on the Dolphins list. But we also need a replacement for Kristen Wilkins because those five guys we signed basically this offseason, let's face it, most of us don't know much about them. They're definitely not household names. Your best hope is that they get coached up by your new defensive coordinator who's played along the defensive line in his playing career and who coached up some good guys with the Ravens. So you have that as hope. But so those are it. To me, those are the most pressing needs. Cornerback had been, but with the addition we did of Fuller, to me, it lessens because you still got the promise of Cam Smith, a second round pick last year, stepping up, but now you don't have to have all the pressure on him being the starter because you've added Fuller. You got Nick Needham coming back to play in the slot. So to me, corner with the addition of Fuller is like scratched off on the top needs. I don't expect a cornerback. Now, it's Chris Greer we're talking about. He loves himself some cornerbacks, like a lot of teams do, because in this NFL, with the passing game of all these teams, corners are needed. So, but it shocked me if you end up going corner. But to me, corner has fallen out of the first two rounds for the Dolphins. Now, later in the round, because we don't pick until the fifth, sixth, and seventh, you can take all corners at that. It doesn't matter. Just take the best player available at those positions by the time you draft again. But in the first and second round, you need guys that are coming in right away and playing. And the best way for that to me is offensive line. If they went offensive line with the first and second round pick, I'm fine with it. Because to me, that's where it all starts on the offense. That's where, because all of us say, oh, we want more physical play. Well, if you're going to want physical play, get those physical offensive linemen out there because we've already lost Hunt. We did get Isaiah Wynn back. So, but that's another guy when you have to have the famous disclaimer from when healthy, he's been a good performer in his NFL career. But the when healthy part is a key part. Just like we have to say with Teron Armstead, when healthy, he's among the best. And it hurts when they're not healthy. So always, you can never have enough offensive linemen. Hey, Adam, big fins up. And I did go to the Florida Panthers game the other night and they got shut out. So I'm definitely much better luck when I go to Miami Dolphins games than when I go to Panthers game. They lost 3-0 against the Predators. So it was still a fun experience to be there with my son. But man, it was boring as far as the Panthers. Zero. Bah, bah! But the big old goose egg. But it was still a neat experience overall. Timothy says, I just got to know we offer him a contract, but I didn't hear the detail. If you're talking about OBJ, yes. I don't know what the details of the contract are. Mike McDaniel just confirmed that the Dolphins, in the meetings this morning with the media, the AFC coaches talked at the breakfast, and Mike McDaniel said, yes, the Miami Dolphins have offered OBJ a contract. So that's where all those things stem from. But no details were discussed. Details of the salary cap were discussed, saying basically that they would have loved to, McDaniel said they would have loved to have Kristen Wilkins and some of those guys back. Mentioned Kristen Wilkins by name, but it's just, the cap is real. They be flexible. He mentioned how he was impressed how the Dolphins were able to add veterans and saw that all the people in house working how to get that number under the cap. Took a lot of work behind the scenes, as some of us call it, kicking the can down the road, kicking the credit card. Yeah, if you hear that little scratching, it's my dog trying. I'm not going to let him in because my wife just went to go for a coffee run. And the minute she comes back, she's going to bark like crazy. So sorry, Chase, you're not coming in right now. But anyway, guys, that's where we stand as far as what Mike McDaniel had to say today. Pretty cool, though. He was pretty direct, talked about play calling, talked about anything they asked him. And, in Mike McDaniel-esque way, he had some, somewhat long-winded, but not his press conference long-winded answers. They were more precise. So you do have that, and that's cool. I like that he did say that they offered OBJ, didn't beat around the bush, whatever. So because that's the perception out there. To me, it's just like I think Dolphins play hardcore. Say this is it, OBJ. Either you take it or you leave it. This is what's on the table, and they're probably not going to flex from that unless a dire need comes up. Someone gets hurt, someone moving forward before he signs somewhere else. Who knows if we change? Chubb is playing great, but Browns are terrible as a whole. Do we make a trade for Nick Chubb? Hey, I don't know, but the Browns are terrible. I don't know. The Browns aren't that terrible, man. The Browns made it to the playoffs and were playing very well at the end of the season. Timothy, I don't know. Yeah, I know they got beat in the playoffs like we got beat in the playoffs, but the Browns are pretty solid team, man. They're pretty solid. It'd be interesting to see how they do this year if Deshaun Watson's really back and how they play with him. And that's going to be an interesting fact of to see. Okay, my dog is bugging me. Hold on one second. The dog wins again. All right, there. He's in the room now. So the little guy wins. No wonder why he's spoiled. I'd rather see. He says I'd rather offer Torrey Bullet contact to be honest. Hey, like I say, there's always all kinds of options at this time of the year. So some of these guys start signing with other teams. They're going to want to be names linked to the Miami Dolphins. OBJ is just the biggest name. That's all. So that's why he made the news just by visiting the Dolphins facility. The Dolphins did indeed, fact, make an offer. So that's why everyone's talking about him this morning. It is what it is. Like I say, who knows, man? This is what makes this fun time of year, man. And the draft is coming right around the corner. To me, the Dolphins would just be best. Let's see how the draft falls before we sign all these guys to any other contracts. Let's see. Because you never know what's going to fall in your lap come NFL draft night. Just keep that pick, Miami. I think it looks like they're going to keep it. Now, if they trade back, something like that, I don't see them trading up because they would have to trade up future years draft capital that you're finally starting to get back in the books. So do you really want to trade this betting that you have the compensatory picks next year so you can say, okay, we can trade the picks we already have because we know we're going to get those compensatory. Do you really want to start gambling, mortgaging the future again to move up? Now, if it's just a few spots and it doesn't cost too much to move up to really get the guy you want, then that's fine. But to me, I'm not trading that second round pick in a package to move way up into the draft. I feel like we need a couple guys that come in from this draft class to kick butt. Hey, Franklin, Stubbs, and Mr. Courtright, Raphael, thank you guys for rolling in once again into my channel. I really do appreciate it. But did you guys have any draft needs outside of mine? I have, like I said, offensive line, defensive line, but I have it like slash edge too, like defensive tackle or edge. To me, defensive tackle may be a little more glaring of a need because of the unknown of trying to replace Kristen Wilkins and Davis, two guys that, obviously Wilkins contributed at a high rate. Hold on, guys. Now my dog wants up. Oh, my dog always wins. It is what it is. When you got a dog, he wins. Yes, safety too. Safety could be up there. But like I said, in the first two rounds, I don't know. It's maybe in the yeah, I really want the Dolphins to take offensive linemen with one of those first two picks. And then maybe, you know, then you look into the safety, defensive tackle. It's really hard, man. We can all debate all day about what's really needed. I know some knuckleheads, maybe not so much in this room, but will say quarterback, and then others will say what some want running backs too. Others want safety, like you mentioned. Some people still think our linebacker room needs help. I think we won't touch linebacker in the first two rounds just because of the moves the Dolphins made in free agency to bring in, the guys we brought in, and Anthony Walker and Jordan Brooks. Anthony Walker and Jordan Brooks are both really good players. So I don't see linebacker being a top priority at this point. So it's good. Like I say, to me, defensive tackle, offensive line, edge are the glaring needs. Then you can say, yes, safety. Yes, we got Poyer, but he's a 1 year basically rental probably at this point in his career. Not what he used to be. Stokes had a solid season for Buffalo last year. But, but we also lost, Jones in the safety spot, but we still have Holland, but we also lost Deshaun Elliott. So yes, could we use help at safety? But again, this is where the lack of draft picks for the Dolphins hurts. It hurts because you got a first and second basically, and then all the way to the fifth, sixth, and seventh. So it really hurts. That's where trading back could help, so you can fill some other spots along the team. So it's really, to me, you got to find those first two draft picks have to be guys. Just keeping in mind, standing pat, not factoring in any trades. Those first two picks of the Dolphins have to come in and contribute wherever position they happen to be. They have to come in and make this football team better. You can't pull a Cam Smith or a Channing Tindall waiting and waiting and waiting for them to contribute to this football team. They have to come in as rookies. And I don't care if it ends up being a receiver and we're all shocked that like Brian Thomas falls to that pick and the Dolphins take him. If they pick him, he better come in and he better contribute right away. I'm saying that's what I think the Dolphins would do. But I'm saying if they went that route, that guy better come in and catch a lot of balls, more than what an OBJ would have done or something like that. Someone that can come in here and fill that spot. That's fine. That's what I'm happy with anything they do in the first round. If it's just a guy that comes in and contributes to making our Miami Dolphins a better football team. Hey, James Jordan. Hey, yeah, I know Chop is good, man. Like I say, I had to put him in there because I already used up a lot of good players for my promo for tomorrow's night. So I said, let me put some guys I haven't put in my thumbnails before. So because Latu's in my thumbnail for tomorrow, Troy Fontenot's in my thumbnail for tomorrow, and just to make Scotty in the room happy, Zach Fraser is in my thumbnail for tomorrow for the Miami Dolphins mock draft. So with the mock draft guy at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow with Courtney, guys. So good, much watched YouTube show. Signed Patrick Peterson. He played safety at corner last year. Say, man, we got a whole bunch of guys coming in with good suggestion. Yeah, fill it. That's why I say Poyer does fill the hole for this year, but you're looking more, like I said, a 1 year rental at this point. And can he put up another good year at this age? I think he can contribute. I think he can be at least as good as the safeties we had last year, but we did lose two and gained one because we basically lost Deshaun Elliott and we also lost Brandon Jones. So could we use another safety? Yes. But could we also have another cheaper free agent version fall to our laps later in the draft when teams rosters are starting to fill up and there's some big names out there that haven't signed? Could we get one on the cheap and come in that way too? Yes. But there's not a position on the football field outside of quarterback that I would be shocked with that the Dolphins could take. I'd be a little surprised at running back, obviously, in the first round, obviously. But really, just bring in a guy that contributes right away. Dad Dean in the house. Haven't seen you for a while. Have not seen you in the room for a while. Dad Dean, big fins up to you. Thank you for coming in here. Hey, those are all good names, Mr. Stubbs. Jackson Powers, Johnson, Chop. Yep, and Verse, Jenkins, all those names, man. All of those names would help this Dolphins team. That's what I'm saying, guys. Just don't pigeon yourself. And I think the Dolphins have done a good job in free agency to the extent that it gives them more flexibility along that first draft pick. There's not one position that you look at and say, "Oh my God, we have to." Like if we hadn't signed Brewer on the offensive line, then you would know. Like it'd be like red flags saying, or brought back Isaiah Wynn and some of the other guys we brought back. What is it? McConklin basically fulfills Lamb's old job. So basically, to me, the Dolphins have done enough moves in free agency where they haven't pigeonholed, put themselves against the back of the wall to say, we got to take this position. It gives us a little more flexibility come that opening Thursday night of the NFL draft when the Dolphins sit with the 21st pick. It gives them a little more room to leave the door open for a few positions. I still particularly want offensive line. I really do. I just think they're probably the best chance to come in and can start as a rookie. If whoever we pick doesn't come in and contribute at 21, it's not going to be a very good picture. I'm telling you, it better not be a guy that, well, he's coming off injuries or he's raw, but he has a lot of talent and he's going to really mold into the future. No, this is still a team that you expect to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game. So you can't, that's not where we are at. Kansas City is in that position where if they want to draft a raw guy with raw talent to, mold over the next couple of years, they're in that position. The Dolphins are not in that position. They're in the position where they have to draft a guy. To me, the first two rounds, Chris Greer has got to hit on the first two rounds. After that, I'm not going to put any pressure, 5th, 6th, and 7th round. But those first two picks, you better nail them. You better nail them, Chris Greer. With baseball season approaching, I already played 2 NFL games. And there goes my dog, just like I figured he would go. At least he's not barking, so that's good. So anyway, now where was I? Oh yes, talking draft and all of that good stuff and about all the positions. My dog got me off my game there for a minute. Robert Jones going to take over. Hey, he could, Eichenberg might be. Eichenberg has said in an interview his favorite position that he's most comfortable at is right guard. He hasn't played it that much because of all the injuries and him having to move around a lot. And with Hunt fulfilling that role, nice. But Eichenberg could be the right guard, believe it or not. I know we don't want to hear that and we don't want to say that, but it could be very well, in fact, be Eichenberg at right guard. I know if Steve is still in the room, he's not going to like hearing that. But don't be surprised if he's in the running. He would definitely be on the team just because of his position versatility. Just that he can play them all. He's played every position on the offensive line in the NFL. So I'd be hard to see if he. Yeah, if like starts on our line, it's too weak and we failed building it. Hey, that's how I kind of feel too. But if it comes right now at right guard, you got Robert Jones, Eichenberg. I don't know because when I'm penciling in at left guard, managing that he stays healthy. Brewer at center. So really, the right guard's the only one I don't know. That's why to me in the draft, getting an interior lineman that can come in and start and probably be at that right guard, it'd be interesting to see. That's why Barton was on my thumbnail today because they say he could come in. Some people say he's one of the best interior linemen in the draft, even over Jackson Powers. So we will see on that on draft night who gets drafted where. So but that's why always offensive line. To me, it's been how long have we been saying the Miami Dolphins need offensive linemen? It's been multiple coaches, multiple general managers. It's just always, I mean, and sometimes injuries have hurt. Brandon Albert, we signed a few years ago. He came in, was playing well, got hurt. We drafted Tunso for reasons known. We end up trading him away because someone gave us a lot of picks. We all know who the someone is for him. So we move on from him. So we just never been able to establish that consistency along the offensive line. And this is our chance because we signed Brewer. He's got, whether you like him a lot or you just say he's average or you say he stinks, we've inked Austin Jackson. So he's going to be our right tackle. I'm fine with that. I think he's a solid guy that can contribute to helping a football team win. So you got your right tackle fulfilled. You're going to say Armstead, obviously, is the left tackle. Of course, we all know he's not going to play in all the games. So you got to start thinking about fulfilling that eventually. Like if Troy, I hate saying names. Troy Fatanu. You guys know who I'm talking about. If he's sitting there at 21, to me, that's be very hard to pass if you're the Miami Dolphins. He's another guy that can play guard or tackle. He'd be a guard until Armstead's no longer able to go, but then you already have your guy in house. So to me, that would be a logical fit for the Miami Dolphins. But again, is he going to be there at 21? That's what makes the NFL draft one of the most fun nights of the year for football fans because you just never know how the board's going to fall. I guess we can all pretty much assume, even though you know what they say about people assume that the Bears will go quarterback at number one now that they've traded Justin Fields, and we all think it would be Caleb Williams. Never know. It could be the draft process could play out and they take Daniels or Drake. You never know, but most likely all logic is pointing them to taking Caleb Williams at number one. So we will have that. Let's see. Eichenberg was terrible at center. He couldn't move and never got the second level of blocking, hence the roadblock in our running game. Yep. And Scotty says that he is better. I mean, Steve Malloy says he is better at center. And Scotty doesn't think he's very good at center. So there we are. That's why we had some issues along. Yes, I know. But that's what I'm saying. All I know, I just think Eichenberg would be on the team. I just don't think he would be a starter. That's my take. But from what I'm hearing, at least from what people that cover the team, not that they really know, but the Barry Jacksons and the Omar Kellys and all of those other names, David Fuanis, they all seem to, if you watch them say, they all say that Eichenberg is most comfortable at right guard when he's been given the chance. He didn't get it much because Hunt was basically reliable most of the time during his career. He got hurt sometime, but at this point, when Hunt got hurt towards the end, we needed Eichenberg at center. I think Eichenberg's on the team. I'd be shocked if he's not on the team, but I'm with you guys. I'm hoping that you get someone better than him to start along any five of the offensive line positions. Because Austin Jackson is guaranteed right tackle. Brewer is pretty much, unless we draft a center and then we can move him to a whatever, but basically he's the center. Armstead is basically the left tackle. Win at this point, I would say is the guard, and then at right guard, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, Win, but you can get better than Win too. You can, because he was playing well, but he got hurt and he has a history of getting hurt. So could you improve that? So either of the guard positions could use improvement. And Brewer can play outside of, he can play guard too. So outside of just center. So you do got some flexibility there. If you draft a guy that's mainly great at center, you could move him over to guard. But Brewer did. I think the Dolphins signed him to be the center. He played all games last year at center. So to me, he's the center as of right now. And as we sit here, what date is it? Oh, basically a month away from the draft, March 25th. Today we are at. So, it's interesting to see. But I would imagine the Dolphins had Brewer at center in mind when they signed him, because he's coming off a game where he played every game at center last year. So to me, they're probably looking at him to be that position. So, and then as I said, then you got Austin Jackson. The two guard spot to me is up in the air. That's it. For sure, the two guard spots up in the air, and depending on who you draft. Because if you end up drafting a Jackson Powers Johnson, I always want to flip flop the Jackson with the Johnson. Jackson Powers Johnson. If you draft him, he falls to 21. You draft him. Is he your center or is he your guard? And then do you move either Brewer to guard? That'd be interesting to see. So, there's still some flexibility along that front there. If you draft like a Troy Fontenot, I say for sure he's probably your left guard. Play him next to Armstead, learning from Armstead. And then he takes over for Armstead on games that Armstead maybe can't go, and then takes over for him in the future at left tackle. So that would be, to me, a good pick for the Dolphins. Hey, G-Man. And what did Dad Dean say, though? True, I believe at 3.7 million, keep Eichenberg for backup. Yes. I do believe Eichenberg would be on the team. Michael K talking about his trucking. I didn't know he was a trucker or a trucking business. I know Lance is. Dolphins need to upgrade the offensive line. Sorswell isn't good enough. We need a great, good O-line. Yes, G-Man, I will agree with you on that take. That's what I would do. That's what, to me, like I said, if the Dolphins took two offensive linemen in this draft with the first two picks, I wouldn't be that mad. I know some fans will be, but to me, but I think defensive line too, though. We can't forget defensive line either. So all my consistent theme throughout this process will be whoever they pick in the first two picks, they have to come in and make our Miami Dolphins a better football team. It doesn't get any more simple than that. But where do the Dolphins probably need the most help? In the trenches, along the offensive and defensive line. So those are the most logical picks to pick. So you can pick, and there's a lot of good. This is a year. If you want to get a good offensive lineman, this is the year to get a good offensive lineman. It's going to be an offensive heavy first round of the draft between, so that's why maybe a good defensive player falls in. But there's going to be a run on quarterbacks, a run on offensive linemen, and a run on receivers. So maybe a defensive player can fall into your lap at 21 that you're not thinking is going to be there, because I'm afraid there's going to be a big run on offensive tackles in the first round before the Dolphins get on the clock. Interior linemen on the offensive side of the ball tend to drop a little bit. Teams value guys that can play tackle more and more for whatever reason. Those are the cornerstones that protect their quarterback, I guess. And it's just always deemed the hardest to find. So there's going to probably be a big run on tackles. That's how I look at it. People are saying, Michael K., you are a cool ass Bills fan. So you're cool, but for a Bills fan. I like that. That's it. Michael K. Yeah, he's cool for a Bills fan. There you go. I like how you worded it. Hey, Dolphin Gang in the house. Make sure you guys check him out. And make sure you always check out Steve Malloy's show on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Forgot to give him his promo. And of course, to back it up, Ben's podcast. Make sure you check his channel out. Tua don't play a whole season if Ike's still on this team and he plays. DG Live, another non-fan of Eichenberg, but seems to be pretty popular. Not many people want Eichenberg to be playing for our Miami Dolphins this year, at least in the starting role. It's, you know what? Dolphin fans can't always agree, but one thing we can all agree on, outside of Steve's line of wanting the Dolphins to win, we can all agree that we don't want Eichenberg starting this year. So see, Eichenberg does serve a purpose, guys. He unites us. We all don't want him to start. So see, there is the positive you can get out of Eichenberg. Not one of us wants him to be a starter moving in next year. So yes, he is. He's quality depth. That's how I look at it. And he's quality. He can play any of the 5 positions on the offensive line. If he's there as the backup, standing on the sideline, someone gets hurt at any of the offensive linemen positions, Eichenberg can go fill in. Now, is he going to fill in at the level that we want? Probably not, but he's going to at least be in there contributing along any spot on the offensive lineman. And that's why, to me, he's a lock on the team, barring injury or something like that. He's just, to me, that's it. So there you go. Liam Eichenberg's the uniter of Dolphins Twitter. Maybe not for the positive way we want, because we all think he's great, but we all agree we don't want him to start. So see if you can find a silver lining in anything, Miami Dolphin fans. Anything out there, you can find a silver lining in, and I'm here for it, because it's been too long since we won a freaking playoff game. So we got to find any little silver lining we can get out there. Man, people have been saying, now they're going to say, Michael K, you are a blessing. Michael K, you're getting love from the Dolphins world. So no more knocking our Dolphins, Michael K. And G-Man came in with Liam is a decent backup. Agreed. I agree with that. Whoa, it's always an honor to have the great Pam in the house. Thank you, Pam, for dropping in here today. I appreciate it. Big fins up to you. You rock. It was great meeting you at the Fan Fest this past year, and I hope to do it again this year if you come down for it. It was awesome. Let's see. Oh, Michael K. Come on, you're getting all this love from Dolphin fans. So, you got to give some love to the Miami Dolphins, because you spend more time in our rooms than you do the Buffalo Bills fans. So it's always good. All right, guys, my dog's at the door again, but this time I'm going to play hard. I'm not going to let him in the door. I'm going to show him I'm the boss for a change, even though probably in 30 seconds I'll be opening the door for him. But he only scratched once. Duck the Bills. Raphael with a little shot there. I like it, man. I like it. Can't give Michael K too much love since he doesn't love our Dolphins, but I can give him love because I know he hits those thumbs up for my channel, so I gotta keep kind of nice to him. Raphael, Dolphin guys, again, check out Dolphin Gang Entertainment. DGE, he gives a big what's up to his guy, Raphael Courtbright. So it's all cool. So, guys, is there any position? Yes, same here, Pam. Same here. Is there any position that you guys, or any one player you guys want in the draft, not let alone position? I've been naming kind of position, but is any one name player that you want? I know Jackson Powers Johnson was the early favorite in Dolphins draft. Has it changed? Has people moved to any different positions or different players that you're like, oh, this is who I want now? I know Lay 2. I won't even pronounce the other part of his first name. and I'm probably saying Latu wrong, Latu. He seemed to be popular among Dolphin fans right now too. But is any other name out there that I'm missing that caught the eyes of Dolphin fans saying, man, if this guy, I know Zach Fraser, he would be a great pick for Scotty, preferably in the second round. I just don't see him falling to the second round for by the time the Dolphins are on the clock at 55. So that'd be cool. But best player available. There you go. But hey, the Dolphins may have, that's what I said, maybe they've gotten themselves in that spot to where they are best player available ready. Well, someone let my dog into the room. But I didn't give in. So let's see. But maybe the Dolphins got themselves into that position of, but I still think they really need help on the offensive line. And it may not be the best player available at 21 because there may be a receiver that just says, oh my God, this guy's going to be a star receiver in the NFL. But the Dolphins really need to improve that offensive line. So I don't know if we're quite there yet at that BPA spot, which good teams can do BPA because that's how you stay good. Because people move on in the league, people get hurt, so you keep on just going BPA. But I do believe some of the moves that the Dolphins have made has made it closer to BPA. But I still don't know if our offensive line is good enough to pass up a stud offensive lineman in that first round. I really don't. So that's why to me it's I'm like almost offensive lineman, but it would be great. It would be great if they signed some other guy. I don't know who's out there on the offensive line that would be cheap to bring in because the Dolphins, from all accounts, are in cheap mode now. They want, you know, I say cheap, relatively speaking, in NFL terms, cheap, not in our 9 to 5 jobs type cheap, but in NFL salary type cheap. The Dolphins are on a budget. I said at the top of the show, if you guys just joining in, Mike McDaniel said this morning the Dolphins have offered OBJ a contract. He has yet to take it. The two sides are still in discussion, but not so much as far as negotiating contracts, but who knows? We will see how that goes. There's mutual interest between the two, is what media outlets are saying. OBJ still has an interest in the Dolphins. The Dolphins still have an interest in OBJ. But from the Dolphins' standpoint, it's seeming more like a financial decision, and they don't want to give him the bank because this man earned what, like 18 million for the Ravens last year. So if he's looking anywhere near those numbers, you might as well forget it. The Dolphins aren't going to sign him. If he's come way down off that term and willing to sign for much, much, much like 10 million off that, if not more, then maybe. So we will see what his stance is and how much does he really want to play at this point. Yes, Troy Fontenot first, Xavier. Oh man, oh man, that is really going out there. DGE. Xavier Leggett in the second round, Troy Fontenot, who I've said I like myself in the first round. Both of those could be guys that, I don't know about Super Bowl. I don't know about Super Bowl George. I would love that, but let's not get too carried away. Or I'm just going to go ahead and put you as if I become the owner of the Dolphins. I would have to hire you, man, because that is a lot. I mean, like I say, so you think he could be? Well, we all know Fontenot would come in and start, but you think Leggett could be our third receiver, better than anyone we have right now on the roster, sir? I would believe you say, oh, it's Miss Finn's in the house. Always great, guys. You already know. You already follow her. But just by the slim of margins that you've never heard of the great Miss Finn's, go over and check her show out every day of the week. She brings it. Can't believe she does it so well, but she does. And it's always an enjoyable, fun show. Get some laughs and get some boom, 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 boom. Sorry, Miss Fins, I can't do it. I don't have the great sound you do, but she does her own personal sound machine and has great effects on that. So always good. Michael K says hello to Miss Fans, asked us Pam. Guys, I almost really towards the end of my show here. I just planned to go 1 hour again today. We're almost up against it. Good to know that George is very confident that if the Dolphins draft Leggett in the second round and Fontenot Troy, I would just say, in the first round, we're going to the Super Bowl, guys. So that's it. George, get on the line with Chris Greer. Tell him to draft those two guys, and we all start booking our Super Bowl plans for the Miami Dolphins if George is running the team. I like that confidence, George. That's why you're on our show every so often, because you bring the knowledge and just the facts. And you know what? Even if you're wrong, you just bring the strength of saying your conviction. I love it, man. You're just convicted in what you believe. I love it. It makes you fun to watch when you do your prospect channels. Have you broken down Troy News yet, George? If not, if so, I gotta make sure I go over there and watch your breakdown of him. That should be fun to see. You do a lot of good prospect stuff. I like to see it. Well, guys, it's been fun in the sun. Even though I'm really inside, but I just needed something to rhyme with fun. You guys always make this a great time. I love talking Miami Dolphins football. This week is a little different because my son, like I said, and my youngest son, senior in high school this year, is on spring break here in Broward County. Excuse me. So we hang out a little more than I just sit here looking. I did though this morning get to see the Mike McDaniel talking to the media. So that's why I knew all what he had to say about he's still basically going to be the play caller. He said he gave it consideration, just talk, going back on what we talked about early to start the show. He asked him about OBJ. He said they had to offer him a contract. They asked him about play calling duties. He said he gave it some thought, but like I say, how he's sounding like he's basically going to be calling plays into next year as well, which I don't have a problem with. If that's what he likes to do, he is the head coach, and it is his specialty as the offense. So I don't have a big issue with that overall. Those are the main topics he talked about, and then there were, some others, some other little stories out there, and but nothing major that he talked about outside of that. And let's see. I want to see if I see anything else he said that I missed. As anyone else is saying. Oh yeah, basically this is what he said about the salary cap. It all comes back to the fact that there's a finite salary cap. Dolphins coach Mike Massell had losing key players like Kristen Wilkins, Rob Hunt in free agency. And sometimes we can't be the kids spending the money. We have to be the parents that have to look at our budget and make sure we can pay the water bill. That's exactly what he said. Okay, I kind of quoted him. I was a little off, but I was pretty close. I was going memory. Now people on Twitter are posting his exact. That's from David Furones of the Sun Sentinel on Twitter. Not his article, just on Twitter, saying that's what he said. So that's more or less what I kind of said he said. If that makes sense. Kind of said what he said. So that's good. So that's it, man. So that salary cap, I know we all say it's a fake number, but it is real to the extent. That's why we don't have Kristen Wilkinson Hunt on the team anymore. If it was a fake number, we would have those guys on the team anymore. You would still have them on the team, I should say. So there is a salary cap, but the Dolphins did their flexing of it, and Stu brought in some decent veterans I feel that can help this Miami team win. Are they long-term pieces like Poyer and these guys? No, but they can come in and help the team win this year, and that's what we want. We want a winning football team this year. Some of the rework contracts, we will worry about that down the road. Armstead actually took a little bit less, and who else? The running back. Oh yeah, Jeff Wilson actually took a little bit less money. Because I thought he might be cut, but he actually reworked his contract to stay here. He obviously likes the Dolphins, obviously likes Mike McDaniel because he reworked his contract to stay here and free up a little bit money moving forward. So that's why I say I think our running back room is pretty much set moving into 2024 football season. So it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, guys, with no further ado, I'm going to close this show out. I love it that you guys came in. And if you haven't already done so, throw a Dan Marino laser pass at the thumbs up button. Believe me, it won't break your computer and it's free. And it helps those little algorithm tell people, hey, this guy, Dolphin Thirsty, puts out some good Dolphin content and it helps me get found. So I appreciate it. Eric Rivera, thank you. Thank you for coming back. I did not see you in here. I did see you earlier, and I forgot to say hi, Eric. Hi, Eric. Thank you for coming in. If OBJ says no, we should bring back Landry. I know Landry wants to come back, but he's been out. I don't know at this point if Jarvis Landry would. I mean, you never know. I never say never, as I say in the movies. So it is what it is. Thank you, Dad Dean. Big fans up to you. And it's always great having you guys in here. You make it a lot of fun. I'm out with no further ado now. I just saw that one last thing. I forgot to say hi to my guy, Eric. So, guys, big fins up, thumbs up. You guys rock. We will talk soon. Oh, remember, tomorrow night, catch Courtney and the mock draft guy, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Should be a good show talking Miami Dolphins in the NFL draft. And that's it. Oh, let me catch a couple more comments, Eric and Miss Fins. Thank you. It was always a great show with you guys coming into the room. Thank you. Fins up, thumbs up.
Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won.